Welcome to this, the first of the BBC's Antiques Roadshows. It's the first of 8 programmes in which we're visiting towns and cities in England, Scotland and Wales. And we've taken to the road largely because of your letters. Over the years, thousands of you have written to us about some object or another that you have at home. How old is it? Who made it? What's it made of? Of course, what's it worth? Well, our first stop on the road is Newbury in the Royal County of Berkshire. It's not the county town of Berkshire, that's Reading. But I think there's more character of Berkshire in Newbury than anywhere else. It's a typical market country town. The countryside around is quite superb. There's the racecourse, Lambourne Downs to the north, where they've trained many a fine winner. Well now, over the next few weeks, we hope to find out, amongst other things, whether different places yield up different antiques. It may be, for example, that Newbury, close to London as it is, has been plundered by dealers and collectors, although I think that's not the case, because since early this morning, they've been queuing up outside the Corn Exchange, waiting to get in with their antiques. The mechanics of the operation are that we have a preliminary sort-out at our reception table, and then people are directed towards either Arthur Negus or the 10 experts we have here from the leading auction houses of the country. They're experts in porcelain, silver, clocks and watches, furniture, and so on.
Is this yours?
Yes.
Hello, sir. Both of you.
Yes, ours.
Little tea caddy, of course, isn't it? It's going to be a tea caddy. A Victorian one in oak. Yes, that's all oak. Pretty bit of oak. This, of course, is nothing
Not the
to do with it.
original, no.
Now, there was, of course, a jar in there which was, in fact, a mixing jar, a mixing bowl, not for sugar, because this little caddy here, how did you get that out? Oh, you hold on to the tops. What a pity I bite my nails, isn't it? They had green tea there and black tea there. And here was the mixing bowl, which would be a nicely cut one. And then you had 2 or 3 spoonfuls of green and 2 or 3 of black. Mix them in the mixing bowl to your own palate.
Yes.
And of course, the housekeeper or the mistress kept the key, because this was about 36 shillings a pound. And this is why these little caddies are always locked. That's quite nice. That's about, about 1860.
Splendid. Quite a noise. Anyway, they are very collectible. Very popular on the continent. And in its original form, with the original lantern dial, it probably would have been worth something in the order of £1,000. Mm-hmm. Converted like this will be reduced to something like 600 or 700.
Still, yes. It's still quite a lot, isn't it?
It is indeed, yes.
Yeah.
It is indeed.
It keeps reasonably good time, but the time between the hours isn't regular. There's not necessarily an hour between the hours, though there's 12 hours between the 12 hours.
Yes, but you mean it doesn't...
Sometimes there's 59 minutes, sometimes there's 61.
But it doesn't strike the right hour at the hour? Or
Yes.
It
Yes,
does?
it does. Yes.
Because that's controlled by this piece on the back here, which on the hour this piece lifts out and the wheel goes around and strikes. And of course it can get out of phase.
Yes, it doesn't do it anymore.
Yeah.
It used to do it, but
Yes. Well, I'm afraid just age and hard work has simply reduced the efficiency of the mechanism, and the wheels simply make their own way round. There's no way of correcting that. It's just purely age.
Oh, how pretty. There's a boudoir doll. Tell me, have you had it long?
About 30 years I've had it.
Oh, that's up, because it would have been, you know, from this costume, it would have been dating from the beginning of the century, or at least sort of in the 1915.
Yes.
And that sort of period. Did you dress her at all, or
No,
the lady?
it was as it was left to me.
How'd I be with all the swirls of
Yes.
satin? because these dolls, in fact, weren't made for children. They were made for adults, so that they lay around on your bed or on your chaise longue. The face, did you see, is made of gauze painted over, and the hair of silk, and the little hat of plaited sort of fibre here. Did you ever try and wash it or anything?
Never done. It's just been sat on a chair ever since I've had it.
Ah, well, that's the sort of doll it was made for, not
Yes.
to be dressed and undressed, but to sort of sit around and look glamorous and beautiful.
It was also in the shape of a pineapple. Again, very, very
Crossbow,
similar.
1780.
About 1780. It's the type of weapon that an English gentleman would have on his country home, in his country house.
Yeah.
And he would do small
I mean, look at
shooting.
all this. That's the thing that enthralls me, the way they...
It is, all this polished steel
Yeah.
and fine work there. An adjustable
That's
peephole
adjustable,
sight.
and this thing unscrews, and that'll go up or down.
That's right. But the loading assembly here, which
That-
comes over the top,
There's something missing.
yes, a claw,
Yeah.
which went underneath the catgut when it was in that position,
That's right. Pull
and
it
then you
up,
pull it back.
and then
That's
pull
right.
the trigger, and out it goes.
And then it flashes off. That's right. Very nice, clean
It's a
condition.
nice job.
And then this Indian Giselle,
Gun?
a Giselle.
Yeah.
This is an Afghan gun.
That's right.
Afghan.
That's what I... Now, I tell you that my very great-great-uncle served in the Indian Mutiny and
Really?
on the Northwest Frontier. Well, there's the answer to it.
Oh, well, that is the answer
No, I
to
also
it.
did I tell you there was a picture before I had this, my uncle lived at Woodstock, if you know where that is, in Oxfordshire.
Yes.
And you go into the main hall, and as you go through the hall, there's another door through the rest of the establishment. And over the top of this door, there was a stag's head with the horns. This gun was resting on those
Horns.
stag's heads. And behind that, now here's the point, behind that, there was a coloured picture of what was probably an Indian chief galloping away on his horse, waving this in his hand, or something like this in his hand,
Yes,
with an
yes.
English soldier chasing him with a sword in his hand, trying to chop his head off.
Really?
See my
Really?
point?
Yes,
I
quite.
mean, now that's as I remember seeing it 80-odd years ago.
Yes. Now, the interesting part about this, the action is a matchlock,
Yes.
which we in England had in the 17th century.
Yes.
And they adopted these actions later time when we had already given them up, so these Eastern countries and African countries began to use them. And this particular one has its original toe cord.
Yes, that's the original cord.
Yes, and that toe goes into there.
That's where they put it in the Doughta, didn't it?
That's right. The pricker, there's a pricker missing that goes in here, so that you prick the hole to make sure the gunpowder goes through. That's right. And then you put that in there
Put that in.
and pull it down, it's instantaneous fire. But a particularly nice piece. I should think today it'd be worth in the region of £300.
Oh, I mean, I wouldn't. I'm not interested so
No.
much in what it's worth, but I mean, I know it must.
It's the thing to
all I
keep
know
and
about
treasure.
this sort of thing, in the paper a year or two ago, a Persian prince or whatever it gave, I think it was £75,000 for a few of these sort of things. But,
Yes.
but much longer ago than that.
Good morning. I thought this would be interesting to see.
Well, that is fun, isn't it? They're nearly always German, these. Do you know much about it, in fact?
I do know already that it did come from Germany.
Really?
Yes.
It's got an import mark.
And that it has a British mark.
The import mark actually isn't very clear. This,
I understand it was 1901.
yes, you're absolutely right. London 91 import mark. It's not brilliantly clear. It's rather fun, this little figure eight. I haven't seen one quite like it before, but you do get a fair number of them made with these semi-precious stones and so on. How is it a family piece or?
Yes, it's been handed down through my father, and his father was the first to own it in the family, and he worked as head gardener at a large country estate.
Really?
And there was this big pile of things that was sort of being cleared out from the house by one of the owners, and he purchased it, I believe, for £5 sort of in the village hall jumble sale, and it was black all over.
Yes.
And he cleaned it and cleaned it.
Do you want some idea of the value?
Well, I would be interested, yes.
I think it's worth somewhere between £500 and £600. If it's a question of insurance, you ought to put more on it. Would you think that's about right?
I would say yes.
The farmhouse was a paradise for the dealer, and the dealers were always coming to the grandparents saying, well, will you part with this? I'll give you so much. And so a lot of it they did part with. But some of the things were left, and this is one of the things that was left. And my mother-in-law, as I said, gave it to me and said, now look after this because I know this is old and valuable. But of course, we had no idea. We thought it did come from China, but it was a Chinese thing because my husband's grandfather was a captain on board ship and brought a lot of things from China, and we thought this was one of the things he brought.
Well, fortunately he didn't, because I mean this is worth much more than a Chinese coffee pot on the same date would be worth, and it's worth £400 to £600.
Is it really?
Yes.
I say that is fantastic.
So I hope you'll go on enjoying it for a long time.
Yes, yes indeed.
Thank you very much.
Yes, all right. Thank you.
So a French horn. So everything ties up beautifully, and the work of these oak leaves and acorns, and everything is brush, and the mask and everything is beautiful. And yes, he's got a tooth, quite right, but that ties it down as being really very, very nice. If that were mine, I would insure it for 500.
Insure it for 500?
£500 or £600 while you've got it in your home.
Oh.
Why? Someone's told you it's worth 2,000.
No.
Good.
Somebody said yesterday, I don't suppose it's worth £50.
It's worth a lot more than that. It's worth 200 or 300 easily. But I would insure it for 500 for certain.
Now this is most interesting because the escutcheons, silver escutcheons, bear the crowned end of Napoleon.
Napoleon, yes.
And it certainly wouldn't be Napoleon III, and you could discount Napoleon II. And this is a campaign set, which any officer might carry, except this one is more illustrious because it's made of hallmark French silver. We have his knife, fork and spoon for his general food. We have a little condiment set here for pepper, and no doubt with the lid missing, the salt.
Is the one inside the...
A lid?
Isn't it?
Oh yes, oh yes. Surprise, surprise, it's all there. So this no doubt would be for the salt. And then of course a beaker. But the whole thing is so very, very interesting. Officers in the Napoleonic army, and as well as the English army, carried such sets.
Did they?
As personal parts of their equipment.
Yes.
Because I don't think there's any question at all about its authenticity. A lot of research would have to be done on it. One would have to go to the French hallmarks first and foremost to establish the date and take it from there.
These hunting bowls, you get quite a variety of them, some with larger figures and some with small. I think this is as good as one finds, isn't it, Aaron?
Yeah, absolutely is, yes. I mean, it could only be bettered by having a name and a date perhaps on it, and then it would be just that wee bit better, but they don't come much better than that.
There's a Derby winner.
But tell me, what happened to the edge inside?
What do you mean, what happened to the edge?
Well, has
Has
it been freshened up, the gilding?
No, no.
That's as you've got it?
Absolutely, yes.
It has at some stage, hasn't it?
Somebody has tried to improve the gilding.
Yeah.
You don't think it would be a cleanser that's done it?
No, no.
It's been repainted.
And a bit on the outside here too. It's been repainted.
Yes.
But this is a really classic object. Can we just rotate it nicely?
Object too.
But it's such fun. It goes this continuous landscape of the hunt proceeding. And very good colours, and it's fresh as a day.
The lady who gave it to me told me that it was a a copy of an English hunting scene.
It may well have been taken from a print.
Prince
From a
by
print.
after,
She mentions a
Prince
print.
after
Yes.
James Seymour.
Yes.
But this one is unusually free, in fact, in its interpretation.
And very finely painted.
Okay, that is derived from an English print, but there's a lot happened as well.
Yes.
And the artist has done quite a bit himself.
Had you noticed that the faces were Chinese?
Well, this is the Chinese trying to do.
They'd never seen
I
a
mean, they were used to
European
painting.
face.
That's right.
A classic thing.
Yeah.
Very nice.
And worth what? 3,000?
Yes.
About £3,000.
Yes.
You haven't got any more?
I have a terrific collection of the
Really?
same period. Oh yes, amounting to almost
staggering.
100 pieces. It's almost unbelievable.
And have you collected this yourself?
I've collected these over the past 60 to 65 years.
Incredible.
This was given to me. I was told to help myself from a stack of 18 bowls. Yes.
Well, you've certainly, by the look of this, you've got some very good things.
What a really enjoyable object. One can
Isn't
just
it?
go on looking
Yeah.
round in the wealth of detail. This is it's something that makes one's day, really.
It does, yes.
Well, I'm sorry I haven't got the owner of this piece with me, but this, to my mind, had to be talked about. It represents such a simple piece of English cabinet work, and yet it's so attractive. A concave front to start with, that's a bit unusual. That's something I like very much. And a cross-grain border running all the way around the top. One little drawer in there, and notice the original little brass knob handles. They're absolutely beautiful there. And then the whole structure of the thing with these vertical strips of inlay all the way around, and the same idea, only much, much longer, running all the way down the square edges. And you notice too on the shelves, only one shelf, simple, just on the edge, tying it just the same as higher up, and just the same down below, with those tiny little square taper legs and brass cup casters. And you see, no one can quarrel with that. That's so absolutely honest. I don't think anything on there has been touched from the day that was made in about 1790. It's as sweet as a nut.
Well, I have here with me now a lady with a very fine painting. It's unsigned. It's been in your family, I think, for some years.
Yes, many years. I couldn't quite say. It's a long time, I know. It was sort of handed down.
Yes. You don't know the value of the painting?
No.
But did I gather you thought it might have been a constable?
Yes, actually I did, but I found out since that it isn't.
Right, well, let's find out what it is. Philip Hook and Mark Fisher, I'm sure you can deal with that. I'll leave you to it.
Well, you're right, it isn't quite constable, but it is interesting that it is by a definite, distinctive hand. There's a very distinctive look about the way it's painted, this foliage and the rather lovely light distance and the river and the figures on the path.
Yes.
And it is by an artist called Walter Heath Williams.
Which is an English one.
An English artist called Walter Heath Williams, working about the middle of the 19th century. And the rather fascinating thing about Walter Heath Williams is that nothing is known about him except that which we know from his pictures. No details of his life are known at all. And we only discovered about him quite recently. We had pictures, obviously, by this artist. We didn't know his name quite frequently. We hadn't been able to attribute them. Then one turned up signed.
Oh.
And so now, when we see this particular style, we know it is Walter Heath Williams, and he's become quite collected and sought after in the sale rooms.
Interesting.
Yes, its prices have risen dramatically.
Prices have risen quite a lot.
It has in its advantage that, in fact, that it is in very good condition.
Yes, very good condition, been well cleaned,
Yes.
isn't it?
Yes.
And
Arthur, it's turning out to be a lot of fun, isn't it?
There's no doubt about it. And I don't know whether you're surprised, but I've been surprised. The number of things, the endless flow of things that people bring, little tiny items of not much value and some a bit worth a bit more, and every now and then a real snorter crops up, all from ordinary folk who've just had these things about.
They're very proud, aren't they?
Oh, they're very proud of them, and I've only had about 3 people all day long ask me how much the things are worth.
Now,
That's marvellous.
Does it surprise you that hardly any pictures have come in, but an awful lot of porcelain?
Well, it doesn't surprise me really, because it's so easy to bring in a vase and say this is one of a pair, but fancy staggering from, through the town centre with a canvas about 6 foot by 4. No, it doesn't surprise me all that much. Pictures are nasty, heavy things to manhandle.
Of course, you're almost retracing old steps here. This was your stamping ground, wasn't it?
In this very hall, I think 50 years ago, this used to be the mecca for all the furniture sales in Newbury. And after my father died, of course, I used to cycle about and come here. All the sales were in Newbury. The Corn Exchange Newbury we used to come down to.
Your father was a cabinet maker, in
yes,
fact, wasn't
he had a shop in Reading, but he was more interested in the practical side of it than ever buying and selling things.
Of course, Arthur, when people talk about antiques, they often mean really furniture, don't they?
Well, I think that's what comes to most people's mind. There's been a lot of furniture brought in, small bits, and there's been a huge collection, as you know, up on their stage there. Some of it a bit disappointing, but 1 or 2 bits very enjoyable. You can tell I enjoyed that concave cupboard. That was a very nice article.
But often you get these, in fact, with Blue Cross swords and 6 mark. And people say, oh, well, that's Meissen, but it isn't, it's Worcester. And then there's another little subtlety which is particularly attractive here. The faults in the porcelain are covered up. This little butterfly thing or insect covers up a blemish, and inside the cup again we have 3 little blemishes covered up by little flowers.
This one is right on the rim.
Well, there must have been a tiny little firing fault there.
Isn't it straight?
That one has quite a noticeable bump.
Yes, it has.
This is about 1765. It's lost its saucer, but still, as a cup by itself, it's worth about £50. This has got a little chip, probably worth £50 to £80. But I think really we should go to look at the real coconut, the most exciting objects you brought in, which is this Bristol Delft Adam and Eve charger. I would say about 1680. These blue dash chargers, so called because they have these blue dashes all around the edge, were made both at Bristol, or more properly at Brislington, and at Lambeth. But this is definitely Bristol. The sponging of the trees in this peculiar green is typical of Bristol, and the way the strokes are sort of spatulate is, again, a diagnostic feature of Bristol Delft. And this piece is datable about 1680. It has got a crack in it, and this crack is caused, it was probably a little crack, and it expanded because once it went, the pressure of a circular object pulls it apart. But it's still something of great importance, worth, say, £1,000. And it's a very good piece of early English Delft work.
The long knickerbockers, and then the little petticoat. Look at those tucks.
All handmade. Yes.
Isn't it beautiful? And then another little petticoat, and then the top dress coat. Isn't that sweet? And the hair comes from the top of the head.
Yes.
Which is detachable. And the little faces are made of bisque porcelain with these glass eyes. No, I must say, these really are beautiful. And she's got all her clothes too, has she? Yes, the 2 petticoats and the little overskirt and another one, all trimmed in this beautiful lace. Now, those are great fun, and her hair's in the same method, is it?
Yes.
And they're little shoes.
Yes,
How beautiful
they
little
the
shoes are
original,
contemporary.
Little French shoes on the bottom.
Lovely little French shoes.
Yes.
That's splendid. So they date from just at the end of the last century by the look of these clothes. You know, they may just be into this one, but they could be as early as 1890.
Oh, really?
And they're very sought after now, these
Are they?
dolls.
Yes.
It's a fantastic dish from the Pilkington's Royal Lancastrian factory. It has the mark on the back, which is impressed It's a P with two little B's on it, which was the mark of the Pilkington brothers. And it has this large monogram, JR, of the painter Richard Joyce, which you can see there.
Yes.
And underneath there's just a tiny little X, which is the date code for the year 1910. And that's when it was potted. And it has an original paper label, which I've never seen. I mean, they're nearly always gone. He was probably the best of the lustre painters at Pilkington, no question. And this is after a design, which is the most interesting thing, by Walter Crane, whose monogram is in there.
Yes.
Walter Crane was a friend of William Morris's and a great artist and book illustrator. But he did do a few designs for Pilkingtons. And this is St. George,
yes,
obviously, with the dragon around the outside. But for some curious reason, they've taken the motto, Chevalier sans peur et sans reproche,
Oui.
from St. Lancelot. I mean, it's not a St. George thing at all, it's pinched. Now, this is in lustre. It's fired, these are actual metals under the glaze, which turn to metal in a reduction kiln. And it was a very, very difficult technique to do. And what often happened is what you've got here, it burns out slightly in the kiln.
Yes, yes.
And to get one even as well fired as this is pretty rare. They can fetch a lot of money. This is, I think, about the second nicest one I've ever seen. And would probably fetch about £600 to £800. It's a super dish. Where did you get it from?
I bought it at a London store in 1927 for £3.
For £3? You're showing us.
So a delighted David Batty there, and what a way to finish. Mind you, Roy Butler was no less delighted with this, Napoleon's picnic set. And just think of it, that spoon probably went into the imperial mouth. Now, this picnic set worth £1,000 or more, and clearly of great French national interest. And then this doll, well, I must talk to you about this doll. Hermione Waterfield, of course, has been looking at lady dolls, but this is a gentleman doll, wax face there, made on the continent in 1865 and rare. It ought to fetch at auction something like £300 or £400, but these gentleman dolls aren't as fashionable as lady dolls, so they go for something like £100. Well, here at Newbury today we've had some silver, some nice silver. Here are a couple of bits. But Arthur, you've gone for the porcelain, haven't you?
Well, I've been forced to go where the quality lies. The quality lies in perhaps three of these nice pieces here. They're an English Delft dish, a charger, an Adam and Eve charger with the usual blue dash border, and a thing which is just rare, a little coffee pot, but Worcester, perfect with a nice blossom surmount on the cover, decorated in oriental figures, chinoiserie. But the king piece of all is this bowl. There it is, a punch bowl, made in China for export, about 1750. Just like the town hall clock chiming, isn't it? Absolutely perfect. And these bowls come in all sorts of ways, with flowers and things. Not many come with hunting scenes. A running hunting scene, look all round that bowl. Continuous scene the whole way round. Now, when they're 6 inches, they're like 7, 8, 9, 10, so on. But my word, when they get up to about 14 inches like that, they're absolutely perfect. And look, just to remind you what's in the middle, a horse and its rider. That is, by any standards, one of the nicest, rarest bowls that we've ever seen, I think.
You said valuable, Arthur. How valuable, in fact?
Oh, that's worth a good deal of money. £3,500.
£3,500. Well, on that note, we take to the road. See you next stop.
Go beyond the velvet rope of our most beautiful historic homes and meet the people saving our priceless heritage. Hidden Treasures of the National Trust on BBC iPlayer.